June 2026. The world's most powerful leaders gathered on the French shores of Lake Geneva for the G7 summit. The air was crisp, the wine was expensive, and the headlines? Absolutely jaw-dropping. Out of nowhere, Donald Trump signed a historic memorandum of understanding with Iran, mediated by Pakistan and Qatar. The goal? Stop a grinding, untenable war, reopen the choked shipping lanes of the Strait of Hormuz, and secure a big deal for Trump's legacy. On paper, it looked like a masterclass in diplomacy. But behind the champagne toasts at Versailles, the reality is far messier. Because while Trump is celebrating his peace deal, his closest ally Israel is currently locked in a brutal, escalating bombing campaign in Lebanon. And Trump? Well, he just threw them completely under the geopolitical bus.
Does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long and too many people are being killed.
To understand why everyone is losing their minds, we have to look at what Trump actually signed. For the past year, the US has been entangled in a chaotic, low-boil war with Iran that achieved almost none of its original objectives. Instead, it managed to choke off global oil supplies through the Strait of Hormuz, sending Western economies into a tailspin. Enter the G7 in France. Desperate for a win, Trump bypassed his European allies, entirely sidelining them from the actual talks, and used Pakistani and Qatari mediators to rush through a 60-day ceasefire framework. European leaders are publicly relieved because, let's face it, they just want their oil back. Macron called the previous situation a great instability. But back home, Trump's own party is furious. Hardline Republicans are calling the deal a total capitulation. Even longtime Trump hawk Lindsey Graham admitted that the way Iran is describing the deal makes it look awful for the US. Trump wanted to look like the ultimate deal maker, but by rushing an agreement just to escape an unwinnable war, he handed Tehran massive leverage, and that leverage is about to crush Israel's military strategy. If the policy critique didn't make Trump look bad, his own mouth finished the job. During a press conference in France, Trump decided to address the ongoing war between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. And folks, it was a train wreck. To understand the absolute farce of the latest US-Iran framework, you have to look at what it intentionally chose to ignore. The United States, scrambling to escape an economic and military quagmire of its own making, rushed a 60-day ceasefire deal through Pakistani and Qatari mediators. The goal was simple: reopen the Strait of Hormuz, calm the oil markets, and give Washington a massive public relations win. Observe the reality of this strategy. This isn't a chess game, it's a humanitarian catastrophe. Since the escalation of the Lebanon war, more than 3,900 people have been killed by Israeli airstrikes. Over 1 million people, greater than 20% of Lebanon's entire population, have been forcibly uprooted. The Western press covers this as a tactical sideshow, but for a mother trying to pack her children into the back of a truck while bombs drop on Tyre or Sidon, it is absolute terror. America's diplomacy didn't stop the violence. It merely separated the geopolitical narrative from the human carnage. Think about that phrasing. Trump didn't voice horror at the dead civilians, the pulverized hospitals, or the shattered infrastructure. His primary complaint was that the bloodshed was ruining his PR momentum. He went on to call a war that has laid waste to southern Lebanon a minor war and a little pinprick. To call the systematic destruction of entire communities a pinprick isn't just a political gaffe. It is a profound insult to the thousands who have lost their lives, their livelihoods, and their homelands. It reveals an administration that views the victims of its foreign policies not as human beings, but as inconvenient background noise. To call the systematic destruction of entire communities a pinprick isn't just a political gaffe. It is a profound insult to the thousands who have lost their lives, their livelihoods, and their homelands. It reveals an administration that views the victims of its foreign policies not as human beings, but as inconvenient background noise. What makes this collusion so insidious is how the military strategy on the ground actively traps these victims. Human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, are sounding the alarm, stating that Israel's sweeping, permanent mass evacuation orders across entire rivers constitute a war crime, specifically unlawful transfer. While Washington signs deals with Iran and tells the world that peace is on the horizon, it simultaneously provides the precision munitions, the political cover, and the financial blank check that allows Israel to declare a permanent security zone inside sovereign Lebanese land. The civilians who used to live there are now barred from returning to their ancestral villages. They have been rendered effectively stateless and homeless by a joint venture of American weapons and Israeli regional ambition. The media coverage treated it like a masterclass in deal-making. But if you strip away the high society applause, you are left with two groups of devastatingly real victims. On one end, everyday American citizens who just found out they paid an astronomical bill for a brief, senseless war that achieved absolutely nothing. On the other end, over 1 million displaced Lebanese civilians dodging American-made bombs while Washington signs agreements that completely erase their existence. When the G7 leaders pack up their bags and leave Evian, they will tell you they made the world safer. Do not believe them. A peace deal that leaves millions displaced, communities occupied, and bombs falling on the vulnerable isn't peace at all. It is a calculated PR campaign designed to sweep America's and Israel's victims under the rug. But on Weekly Zygest, we don't look at the signatures on the paper, we look at the cost on the ground. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Support the channel by liking and sharing. We'll see you next week.